Welcome to this journey into the dynamic laws of healing by Catherine Ponder. Catherine Ponder is one of the most influential voices in the realm of spiritual prosperity and healing. As a unity minister and author of numerous metaphysical classics, she has helped millions of people around the world tap into their innate power to transform their lives, not just financially, but emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Her teachings combine timeless spiritual truths with practical application, always delivered with clarity and heartfelt conviction. Among her many works, The Dynamic Laws of Healing stands out as a profound guide to understanding the deeper laws that govern health and wholeness. This book isn't about surface remedies or quick fixes. It goes straight to the spiritual roots of illness and reveals how the mind, heart, and soul play a vital role in the healing process. In this inspirational book, Catherine Ponder lays out the spiritual principles that can lead you toward renewal, from the inner release of old emotional patterns to the power of love, praise, giving, and the surprising role of surrender. Each chapter explores a unique law of healing. We'll walk through these powerful laws chapter by chapter so you can reflect, resonate, and perhaps even awaken something new within yourself. Whether you're on a personal healing journey or simply seeking deeper spiritual understanding, this book offers a path of light, truth, and transformation. So let's dive in. The Dynamic Laws of Healing by Catherine Ponder, summarized and presented by Wisdom Matrix 1111. Chapter 1. The Shocking Truth About Healing. Healing is not just about medicine, time, or even willpower. It's about consciousness, how you think, what you believe, and the spiritual laws you choose to live by. The most surprising truth is that healing begins within, often in places that conventional methods overlook. The mind and heart are not passive observers in the healing process. They are the instruments of transformation. Catherine Ponder unveils a profound idea: that illness can be a symptom of inner conflict, resentment, guilt, or prolonged fear. These emotional and mental states can manifest physically, creating blockages to health. But when they're released through forgiveness, love, peace, and spiritual alignment, the body responds. One of the key revelations is the concept of mental cause and spiritual solution. The physical condition may be real, but its root often lies in thought patterns or spiritual disconnection. When these inner causes are addressed, physical symptoms can fade, sometimes with remarkable speed. We often resist healing on a deeper level. Unconsciously, people may cling to illness for attention, sympathy, or identity. That resistance must be gently brought to awareness and released. Only then can the natural flow of divine life or healing energy move through freely. Affirmations, faith, and forgiveness aren't just emotional tools, they become channels through which healing flows. And healing isn't limited to the body. It touches relationships, finances, mental clarity, and spiritual peace. It's a full-spectrum transformation that begins with recognizing the hidden patterns at play. The shocking truth, then, is that healing isn't something you wait for or hope to receive from outside. It's something you awaken from within. Chapter 2. The No Law of Healing. Saying no might seem like an unusual path to healing, but it can be one of the most powerful. Not every healing begins with doing more. Some begin with refusing what no longer serves. This law is about denial, not in the sense of avoidance, but as a conscious act of cutting ties with thoughts, beliefs, or energies that block wholeness. Many people unknowingly say yes to sickness by affirming fear, rehearsing past traumas, or accepting limitation as inevitable. But healing demands a deliberate mental stand, a firm no to the ideas that keep pain alive. Denying the power of illness doesn't mean pretending it doesn't exist. It means refusing to give it authority over your life. It's the mental act of revoking its claim. That's where healing starts, not with struggle, but with a clean break from unhealthy mental agreements. This principle has deep roots in metaphysical teachings. The mind must first clear the space before it can welcome the new. Saying no is the spiritual broom. It sweeps out fear, anger, guilt, and unforgiveness, creating a clear channel for healing power to enter. Catherine Ponder presents this as a discipline. It's not enough to say, "I don't want this pain." You have to consistently say, "This pain has no power over me. I no longer accept it." There is no power in evil. Anything in my life that needs to be changed can be changed. That kind of inner refusal, when done with conviction, begins to rewire the emotional and energetic patterns that hold illness in place. In this way, healing is an act of spiritual authority. It's not passive. It's the bold inner declaration that what is not of life, love, or truth has no place within you. Chapter 3. The Surprise Law of Healing. Sometimes healing arrives through the least expected doorway. It doesn't always follow logic, a timeline, or a method. That's the essence of the surprise law of healing. The idea that the power to restore, renew, and transform often shows up in sudden, unconventional, even miraculous ways. This law reminds us that rigid expectations can actually block the flow of healing. When the mind insists that restoration must happen through a certain person, technique, time, or path, it limits what the universe can deliver. But when the heart stays open, without demanding how or when, the unexpected can unfold. Stories emerge here of people being healed through spontaneous insights, chance encounters, forgotten affirmations, or even moments of surrender. What these moments share is not a formula, but receptivity. They happen when someone loosens their grip on control and allows a higher intelligence to orchestrate the outcome. The surprise isn't only in how healing comes, but who it comes through. It could be an overlooked doctor, a friend's casual remark, a line from a book, or an inner prompting that seems to come from nowhere. This law teaches that divine healing power is creative and resourceful. It doesn't need to follow our plans. Catherine Ponder underscores that the element of surprise is not chaos, it's grace. It's a reminder that healing is not always earned through effort alone. It can also be received through trust. The key is to expect good, even if you don't know the form it will take. When the mind stays flexible and the heart stays willing, healing can burst through in ways that are more beautiful and immediate than anything you imagined. That's the gift of surprise, an open space where miracles can land. Chapter 4. The Healing Law of Release. Letting go can be just as healing as holding on, sometimes even more so. The law of release teaches that healing often begins the moment you release what's been weighing you down. Whether it's resentment, fear, guilt, or emotional pain, clinging to the past creates tension in the mind and illness in the body. Emotional burdens can crystallize into physical conditions. Holding on to anger, for example, may show up as chronic discomfort. Unresolved grief can settle in the chest, and unspoken regrets can weigh heavily on the heart. Release is the act of freeing yourself from these inner entanglements. Forgiveness plays a central role here, not just forgiving others, but also releasing yourself from self-blame and judgment. It's not about condoning harmful actions. It's about refusing to let them live rent-free in your energy field. When forgiveness is genuine, it creates space for new life to flow in. There's also a more subtle layer to this law, the need to release outdated identities. Some people unconsciously cling to illness because it has become part of their self-concept. Letting go of the condition also means letting go of the narrative tied to it. That takes courage and deep inner honesty. The act of releasing is not always dramatic. It might look like a quiet moment of surrender, a repeated affirmation, a letter never sent, or a tear finally allowed to fall. But each act loosens something inside, some knot that's been silently holding back life. Catherine Ponder suggests that the more we let go of what no longer serves us, the more we make room for health, peace, and clarity to take root. In this way, healing becomes less about struggle and more about unburdening, a return to the natural state of harmony that is always within reach. Next, Chapter 5. The Yes Law of Healing. After letting go, something new must be welcomed in. The Yes Law of Healing is about conscious acceptance, opening yourself to the energies that uplift, restore, and transform. Where denial clears space, affirmation fills it. Saying yes to life, love, joy, and health is a powerful act of alignment. This law isn't about blind optimism. It's about choosing to affirm what's true at the spiritual level, even when appearances seem to say otherwise. It's the practice of declaring, with intention and faith, that healing is possible, here and now. Words play a key role. Affirmations are more than phrases. They're vibrational tools. Repeating words of life and wholeness creates a new mental atmosphere, one that supports physical change. When the inner language shifts, the outer experience often follows. Catherine Ponder touches on the importance of accepting good without resistance. Some people unknowingly block their healing by feeling unworthy of health, love, or happiness. Saying yes becomes a way of dissolving those unconscious walls. It affirms that you're not only willing to be healed, you're ready to receive it fully. There's also the idea that what you consistently say yes to, you eventually embody. If you affirm peace, peace finds a home in you. If you affirm vitality, your cells respond. The body listens to the spirit's conviction. Remember, what you radiate outward through your thoughts, feelings, mental images, and words, you attract into your life. Catherine Ponder presents this law as a gentle yet powerful turning point. After denying what no longer belongs and releasing it from your energy field, you create a sacred opening. Into that space, you say yes to all that brings life. It's an act of faith, a step into partnership with the invisible, and it becomes a quiet declaration to the universe, I am ready to be whole. Chapter 6. The Healing Law of Praise. Praise might seem like something reserved for moments of joy or success, but in the realm of healing, it's a powerful force that can shift everything. This law reveals that praise isn't just a reaction, it's a spiritual tool. It magnifies good, dissolves negativity, and raises the vibrational atmosphere where healing becomes possible. Praise redirects attention. Instead of focusing on pain, limitation, or fear, it lifts the mind toward gratitude, beauty, and divine possibility. That shift in focus isn't trivial. It changes the emotional climate and invites a different kind of energy into your body and life. There's a special kind of power in praising before the evidence shows up. To bless the body while it's still aching, to praise life while things still seem uncertain. It's an act of spiritual confidence, a declaration that something greater is already at work, even if not yet seen. Praising the body itself is a profound practice. Instead of criticizing its symptoms or weaknesses, the act of affirming its intelligence, strength, and healing power can initiate real change. Cells respond to the energy of appreciation. Every organ, every function, every system begins to cooperate with the harmony being called forth. Praise dissolves resistance. It softens hardened thoughts, heals emotional wounds, and even uplifts others in your environment. A spirit of praise becomes contagious. It clears the mental fog that so often clings to prolonged illness and gently opens the heart to light. Catherine Ponder speaks of praise as both a magnet and a multiplier. What you praise increases in your experience. Praise shifts you from pleading to knowing, from effort to receptivity. It's not always easy. It may feel unnatural at first, but the law of praise is not based on feeling. It's a choice. And when made consistently, that choice begins to retune your entire being toward health, peace, and renewal. Chapter 7. The Healing Law of Love. Love is not just an emotion, it's a healing current, the most potent force in the universe. This law reveals that love, when consciously directed, has the power to heal not only emotional wounds, but also physical conditions and broken circumstances. Many forms of illness stem from a lack of love, whether it's love withheld, love lost, or love never received. The body and soul both crave connection, warmth, acceptance. When these are absent or blocked, pain often fills the space. But love doesn't need to come from someone else. The most transformative healing begins when love is extended inward. Loving oneself fully, tenderly, and without condition is one of the greatest acts of spiritual restoration. It dissolves self-rejection, guilt, and shame, making room for the life force to flow freely. Love can also be silently sent to others. It's not always about words or actions. It's about holding someone in a space of compassion and goodwill, no matter what has happened. That inward shift releases resentment, and in doing so, often heals the one who offers the love as much as the one who receives it. There's also an emphasis on loving your body, not in its perfection, but in its process. Instead of battling illness, love gently invites harmony. Instead of resenting discomfort, love offers presence and patience. The cells, the organs, the nerves, each responds to love as plants respond to sunlight. Catherine Ponder presents love as the spiritual balm that melts fear, clears confusion, and reconnects the individual with divine flow. Love becomes a tuning fork, realigning every part of life with its highest vibration. Healing through love doesn't require effort, it requires willingness, a softening, a decision to replace criticism with kindness, and to meet every condition, not with resistance but with grace. Chapter 8. The Miracle Law of Healing. Miracles are not random events reserved for a chosen few, they are natural results of spiritual alignment. This law reveals that when the right mental and emotional conditions are met, what seems extraordinary can become an everyday reality. Healing doesn't always follow a linear path. Sometimes it leaps. The essence of a miracle lies in spiritual law, operating at a higher level than human reasoning can predict. What the world calls a miracle is simply what happens when divine order breaks through human limitation. It defies logic, not because it's impossible, but because it belongs to a different plane of possibility. The ingredients that open the way to miraculous healing include unwavering faith, spiritual receptivity, deep inner conviction, and a willingness to believe beyond appearances. When these elements come together, the atmosphere becomes charged, ready for the extraordinary to unfold. There are stories of instantaneous recovery, impossible turnarounds, and situations transformed in ways no medical method could explain. These aren't just tales of luck or anomaly. They're demonstrations of spiritual law in action, laws that anyone can access with belief, clarity, and alignment. Catherine Ponder emphasizes that miracles often occur when the mental pressure lifts, when fear is released, and when there's a surrender into something higher. It's not about trying harder, it's about opening wider. Miracles tend to slip in through the cracks of surrender and faith. The miracle mindset also means expecting good without needing to know how and when. This doesn't mean ignoring practical wisdom or the realities of your situation. It means creating a space in consciousness where the impossible becomes possible, where the laws of spirit override the facts of the moment, making room for divine intervention to occur beyond logic, beyond timelines, beyond method. This law invites us into a different relationship with healing, one where timelines, diagnoses, and probabilities don't hold the final word. When the conditions are right, miracles rush in to fill the space. Chapter 9. The Occult Law of Healing. Not all causes of illness are visible. The occult law of healing explores the unseen forces that may influence your health, forces rooted in mental patterns, karmic influences, spiritual debts, and even energies carried from past experiences or lifetimes. While occult may sound mysterious, it simply means hidden, and it's often these hidden elements that block your path to full recovery. This law asks you to consider that your physical condition might be the result of more than genetics, environment, or behavior. There may be emotional imprints, energetic residue, or spiritual lessons woven into your experience. Recognizing these unseen layers doesn't make healing harder, but it makes healing deeper. You're encouraged to become an investigator of your own inner world. Is there a lingering resentment from years ago that you've buried? A fear you've never dared to name? A belief passed down to you that no longer fits the truth of who you are? These are often the places where healing begins, not by fixing the surface, but by releasing what lies beneath it. There's also a deeper look at karmic healing here, resolving patterns that may have carried over from other lifetimes or been passed through family lines. You don't have to know every detail, but by choosing forgiveness, compassion, and higher understanding, you begin dissolving those ties. Catherine Ponder presents the occult aspects of healing not as something to fear, but something to honor. You have spiritual authority to transmute anything, seen or unseen, that holds you back from wholeness. By affirming divine order, protection, and healing power, you begin to shift your inner atmosphere, no matter how complex the origin of your struggle. What you uncover in this process might surprise you, but the more light you bring to these hidden places, the more power you awaken within yourself to fully heal, not just the body, but the deeper fabric of your being. Next, Chapter 10. The Imaging Law of Healing. What you consistently picture in your mind, you begin to invite into your reality. The imaging law of healing centers on the creative power of your inner vision. Healing doesn't just come through effort or treatment, it also comes through the images you hold of yourself, your body, and your future. Your subconscious mind responds to pictures more powerfully than words alone. When you visualize yourself as strong, radiant, and whole, you're planting seeds in the soil of your inner life. Those seeds, when nurtured, often grow into real transformation. But when you dwell on images of limitation, sickness, or fear, you're reinforcing exactly what you're trying to overcome. This law calls you to become intentional about what you mentally rehearse each day. If you're facing a health challenge, it's not about denying the condition. It's about redefining your identity. See yourself not as a victim of illness, but as someone who is actively returning to balance. Imagine your body as intelligent and responsive. Picture each cell filled with light and strength. These are more than mental games, they're acts of spiritual creation. Catherine Ponder emphasizes that many have used visualization to recover from so-called incurable conditions. Some saw themselves walking again when doctors said they wouldn't. Others imagined their organs functioning perfectly. What began as vision became reality. To strengthen this practice, you're invited to pair imagery with feeling. Don't just see health, feel it. Imagine the ease of movement, the joy of breathing deeply, the peace of a pain-free day. Let that feeling fill your inner space. You might also find it helpful to create visual aids, a vision board, a healing journal, or even simple sketches that symbolize renewal. These tools reinforce the image of health until it becomes more familiar to you than the struggle. Your imagination is not just fantasy, it's real at the quantum level. It's a spiritual tool, it's a channel for divine creation. Remember, what you imagine consistently, you energize. And what you energize, you begin to manifest from the inside out. Chapter 11. The Mystical Law of Healing. There's a level of healing that goes beyond technique, beyond thought. even beyond personal will. The mystical law of healing speaks to this deeper reality, a realm where healing flows not from effort, but from direct connection with the divine. It's here that you move from trying to make healing happen into simply allowing it to unfold. This law invites you into communion with something greater than yourself, a higher power, spirit, God, or infinite intelligence. When you're aligned with that presence, even briefly, a deep stillness begins to dissolve fear, confusion, and resistance. Healing doesn't feel forced, it feels natural. Sometimes mystical healing happens in silence, in meditation, in prayer, in moments where the mind quiets and the heart opens. You may feel a subtle shift, a warmth, a lightness, or a deep inner knowing that all is being made well. These moments may seem small, but they carry great power. Your body and soul are not separate from divine presence, they are expressions of it. So when you return to your spiritual center, you're not asking for healing from something outside of you, you're awakening the wholeness that has always been within. Catherine Ponder describes this law as a spiritual alignment where you become a channel through which divine healing power can flow freely. It doesn't require complexity. Often it begins with simple surrender, a whispered prayer, a moment of trust, a release of control. This law also encourages you to be still and listen. Healing wisdom can rise in the quiet, a thought, an image, an inner voice guiding your next step. The mystical path honors that inner guidance and trusts it, even when it defies logic. In this space, healing is no longer a goal to chase, it becomes a natural state to return to. And each time you reconnect with that divine presence, you deepen your access to the peace, strength, and vitality that have been waiting there all along. Chapter 12. Chemicalization, a healing process. Sometimes, the moment you begin to think better, speak truth, and affirm health, things seem to get worse instead of better. That can feel confusing or even discouraging. But this law explains that such turbulence is often a sign of chemicalization, a natural part of the healing process. Chemicalization occurs when old limiting beliefs clash with the new spiritual truth you're affirming. Picture a glass of muddy water that you begin to purify. As the clean water flows in, the sediment stirs before it clears. That stirring, that temporary inner and outer upheaval, is chemicalization. You might feel emotional discomfort, heightened physical symptoms, or even conflict with others as the old patterns surface to be released. But none of this is a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that deeper healing is underway. This process requires patience and understanding. You're being invited to stay the course even when things feel temporarily chaotic. The body and mind are reordering themselves. The new beliefs you've planted are beginning to push out the old. It can feel like tension, but it's a tension with a purpose. What's most important during this phase is not to give in to fear. If you interpret these symptoms as failure, you might go backward. But if you recognize them as part of your transformation, you remain in harmony with the healing. Catherine Ponder points out that many people give up just as healing is breaking through, because they misinterpret chemicalization as a sign that it's not working. But if you keep affirming truth, keep resting in divine support, the storm passes. And when it does, something clearer, stronger, and more vibrant stands in its place. You're not being punished, you're being purified. And on the other side of this process, your mind, emotions, and body are more free than they've ever been. Chapter 13. Your giving can heal you. True healing isn't just about receiving, it's also about giving. This law reveals that when you give from the heart, without fear or resistance, something opens within you. It lifts you out of limitation and reconnects you with the flow of life itself. Giving, in this context, is more than just money or material help. It's your time, your love, your encouragement, your attention, your kindness. When you give freely, without clinging or calculation, you activate a powerful spiritual current. That current doesn't just bless others, it circulates back into your own life, often in the form of increased vitality, peace, and even physical renewal. Rather than depleting you, giving is revealed as a spiritual force that replenishes. In truth, when you give from a place of spiritual abundance, you're not emptying yourself, you're aligning with the infinite supply that supports all life. And in that alignment, your own needs are met, sometimes in ways more profound than you could have imagined. There are countless stories of people who began to heal, not from more treatment, but from more love. They gave their energy to someone in need, reached out with compassion, or shared whatever little they had, and something in their own condition began to shift. Giving creates movement, and movement invites healing. Clinging to money, attention, or love creates stagnation. But the moment you let something flow through you, you reconnect with the divine rhythm of increase. Life was never meant to be bottled up. It's meant to be circulated. Catherine Ponder emphasizes that giving clears mental and emotional congestion. It softens the heart, dissolves fear, and opens a new pathway for blessing, healing, and recovery. When you give sincerely, you expand. And that expansion makes space for healing. You never know how your small act of kindness may not only change someone else's life, but also unlock something in your own. Conclusion: can you accept your healing? After all the principles, affirmations, and spiritual insights, the question that remains is simple. Can you accept your healing? Not just wish for it, not just imagine it, but truly, deeply allow it into your life without resistance or delay. Healing doesn't always depend on how long you've suffered or how serious the condition appears. It depends on readiness. Are you willing to let go of the old story? Are you willing to receive new life, even if it means changing your identity, your habits, your outlook? Many people unknowingly resist their healing. They feel unworthy. They carry guilt, or they believe, deep down, that healing must be earned through pain. But divine healing doesn't operate on punishment or deserving. It flows freely when you accept it. Acceptance isn't passive. It's a bold spiritual decision. It's saying yes to health, even before you feel it. It's living as though wholeness is already yours. It's affirming that your body is responding to divine intelligence, that your mind is becoming clear, that your soul is at peace. Remember, healing is not just possible, it's your spiritual birthright. The laws have been given, the tools have been placed in your hands. And now the final step is to open your heart and say, yes, I accept it. I am ready to be made whole. Let that acceptance echo through every cell of your being. Let it settle into your emotions, your thoughts, your actions. Let it become the vibration you live by. Because the moment you accept your healing, without hesitation or doubt, you begin to walk in it. Take these truths to heart, return to them as needed, and above all, stay open to the healing that is already yours. I hope you enjoyed this journey into Catherine Ponder's The Dynamic Laws of Healing, and that it brought you a little more light, clarity, and healing on your own path. Thank you for tuning in to Wisdom Matrix 1111. Please help support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. Until next time, stay well and stay inspired. Peace.